Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now, we're still reviewing the papers. We've gone through all the headlines and what they're saying. We've taken a few calls. And now let's hear from our analysts. We're here by Chris Kehinde Nwandu, CKN. Good morning. It's good to have you. Morning. Congratulations. Eco fuel scarcity, eco increments of fuel price. Eco traffic. Let's talk about that. How has that impacted you?
Terribly. You can see how late I got here. Even those that are buying have practically taken over all the roads. And the funniest part of it is that we're resilient people.
Yes.
We're a resilient
Probably
people.
resilient people.
And it's that advantage that our leaders take.
Understanding your
They understand that's very strong and resilient people.
Push us to the wall.
And they push us to the wall. And because our leaders understand that, that is what they're doing what they're doing to us.
It's not just the resilience. There's resilience. There's also the games that are being played. You know, the fact that Nigerians would almost never be united enough to speak with one voice. You know, and I saw someone say yesterday that he looks forward to when, you know, we get so choked that nobody remembers who is Igbo and who's Yoruba.
And that's why I say that even at over 1,000 naira, you still see a long queue of people queuing for over 2-3 kilometers waiting to buy fuel.
Well, I agree with you. Whilst I'm one of the people who will say Nigerians are understanding girlfriends, we understand too much, we're always making room and allowances for our politicians. On the other hand, I think what other alternative is there? They come out to protest, they arrest them, throw them behind bars and say, oh, protest is not allowed. You know, they speak and the leaders act like they're not listening. So it feels like we don't really have a lot of choices and a lot of options.
You do.
So what are the options?
The options are always there. I've told you that, I've said it on this program, that in some countries, just the increase of the price of bread have led to the downfall of the government. We've seen instances where we saw what happened during the Arab Spring. It got so bad that somebody has to douse himself with petroleum and put himself on fire.
But we can't do that.
No, wait. If you are started doing suicide bombing, suicide bombing is very alien to us here. But for whatever reason, some people I couldn't believe it that somebody would just wake up and tie himself up, or he's tied up, and just went and detonated the thing. Never say never. And that is always said, never say never. But because you don't know how far, in fact, you have to be very careful when you're walking around the streets of Lagos.
When I say we can't do that.
Because at times, wait, let me just finish.
Okay.
You have to be very careful the way you move around, even on the streets of Nigeria now, because at times you can even just say good morning to somebody, and the person just feel annoyed and just slap you out of annoyance. And let me give another classical example. Within the last 1 week, I've been attacked twice on traffic by robbers.
Yeah.
I'm talking of myself. Within the last 1 week, I've been attacked twice. I was driving, and I was attacked in Lagos here.
I think, and I hear you.
And that is how bad things have gotten.
I agree with you. I think when I say we can't do that, it's more like I'm not saying it's not possible. We're not encouraging people to go and douse themselves in petrol.
No. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that people should go and douse. I'm only saying, just tell you that we are so resilient in the sense that our leaders have all that. We don't always have a choice.
The leaders would suppress any form of resistance.
So his point is that there's a kind of resistance that you can't suppress.
Yes.
When people are
that is tired. He got the point I'm saying.
We have what I'm saying. More, I think. Colin, good morning.
All right.
Good morning. Can you hear us? All right. Hopefully you call back. You know, but another thing, because I don't want us to focus too much on the petrol scarcity. There's so many other things in the news. But another thing, you know, is the confusion as to whether you have a justifiable reason to even be angry, because there are people who, even while buying it for 1,200 naira, in that frustration will still say to themselves, oh, but you know, if we truly want to remove subsidy, you know, we'll have to buy expensive petrol, you know. So maybe that's a justifiable reason to, you know, not bother yourself protesting when everybody else is protesting. And so that confusion, you know, that just exists here and there, you know, continues to let people, you know, continue just to be docile and never really
I'm always of this
be angry enough.
I'm always of this school of opinion that we got our independence very early, just too early. Okay, because we didn't have that resistance movement like some other countries had. That has made us so docile. Take for example South Africa. You know what the South Africans went through.
Yeah.
And at the end of through apartheid and the rest of them, I'm not saying that South Africa is Eldorado, but you could see the level of development and you can compare South Africa with any other European country in terms of development, in terms of political maturity and the rest of them. And that is why I was saying some time ago that after the election, do you see anybody going around, going to court and the rest of them? So, but even at that, you also see their resistance, because that they also know that most often than not, when there's serious, when government is not keeping to their promises, you see them coming out to protest, despite everything that government tried to do. It happened. And let's take it further, even within the South African country. If you see what Robert Mugabe did in Zimbabwe, for a long time, it came to a point that he has to go, either through whatever means he left. And that has been so consistent. But my question now is that things have gotten so bad that it seems that our government is so confused they don't even know what to do. Especially when they come.
I don't think that's what it is. All right. Good morning, Mr. Abdul Rashid. So you may have disconnected.
You know, you say you don't think that is what it is. What it is, because the confusion started from, at least the current confusion started from the first day, May 29, 2023, when the president came out and said, oil subsidy removed. He said that he's not the one that removed it, but the fact remains that he announced it. And since then, we had this spiral effect. Yeah. And there have always been. Then from there, we moved to the Naira, the dollar, the floating of the Naira, and the rest. From there, you move to energy. Now, to the point that even the only agency of government, or I'll call it, although they say they privatized it, NNPC, cannot, in its truth, tell Nigerians the truth.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think it's confusion. So, because the government has enough people. So
are you saying that it's a deliberate attempt? Yeah, are you saying it's a deliberate attempt?
No.
So what is it? Well,
if it's not anything.
No, you are saying no.
The point I'm trying to make is the government has enough brilliant minds in its economic management team. Mm-hmm. It has always had. It's not lacking in advice on what the best thing is to do. Okay. But a government that has continued to fail to meet its deadlines with something as simple as the Port Harcourt refinery. It's not a government that's confused. There's just not that will to actually know that this is the right thing to do and we're going to go ahead and do it. It's not confusion. It is that political will that is completely lacking in doing what needs to be done and taking the Nigerian people and their cries and their tears seriously. That's where I think that it is, so amongst many other things.
That is it. Let me tell you, it starts from the head. Mm-hmm. And it starts from the head. And that's why I say that when I say government now is now situated within the table of the president. Yeah. Because the buck stops at his table. Right. Well, if you talk about that, you can say governors, local government, but the current situation as we hear lies squarely on the doorstep of the president.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's confusion.
Yes.
80 people were buried in Yobe State yesterday or the day before. Mr. President's currently not in Nigeria. The Emir of Emir.
Yes, Emir in Sokoto. The one in
Sokoto. So when you don't see the reaction that you should see from the people who should be in charge of security, then it's not confusion. They're not confused. It's just the lacking of the interest.
I know that the two are intertwined. Economy, security. I'm even much more concerned with the economy.
All right. Please, just I know because of time, I need us to speak about Labour Party. Mm-hmm. Julius Abure, Alex Oti, and of course their
Peter Obi.
Yes,
the rest.
The whole of the drama.
It's confusion everywhere, and that was if you remember Fela. Is at this time I miss Fela, because Fela for don't release one serious hit, we go hit everybody. But so the confusion is at this time that you expected that the opposition parties to be able to raise their voice. But even the opposition party are in total disarray. You see what is happening in PDP. You see what is happening in Labour Party. For Labour Party, they try to, I think for the first time they're trying to do what some Nigerians felt that they would have done in the since. Because there have been all sorts of allegations against the person of the, I don't know what to call him, whether former, current, or whatever chairman of the party. Serious allegation of fraud and alleged. You have to also use that word alleged. And I thought by now that they would have taken serious decision to be able to bet. Since they're waking up from a plumber, they met in Uma here and be able to pick the former finance minister as an interim caretaker committee chairman. And what they are trying to do now, I want to believe, is rebranding. But Aburo himself has come out with his cohort yesterday to say,
we no go agree.
So let's see how that pans out. But Labour Party, as I said, is in disarray. And let's give them the next few weeks and see how it's going to. But they just have to, something has to give in Labour Party. And that is where at a point I was saying that P2B is not doing enough.
But so far with this move, do you think that...
Yes, that's why I said what they are doing now is what they ought to have done in the past few months. For goodness sake, the party is not owned by Buri. He just won.
His birthright.
It's not his birthright.
But does that not in a way symbolize how Nigerians view their relationship with power? It's why people get into politics and they're there and they don't want to leave. It's why some people have camped in the National Assembly as their birthright. You know, because we have a selfish relationship with power. No,
it's not selfish. It's the peck of office that makes them. Because they know when they get there, they become so rich that they don't want to leave. So if you make politics unattractive, quote and unquote, in terms of returns, then if it's going to be, because you are supposed to be serving people. That's what politics is all about. You ought to serve. So it's not a place for you to acquire wealth, because if you look at the allegations, and I continue to say allegations against this man, and you see, if you remember what was it the financial secretary or treasurer of the party said, and all the things that were listed, this man was somebody that was practically struggling, quote and unquote, before. But according to what they said now, you need to see, I don't want to start going to the realms of rumors and the rest of them. But that is the part. If you are out to serve the people, if the people feel that you are not delivering, then you have to step down. But nobody does in Nigeria.
It is deceitful, looking at Nigerian politics and imagining
politicians
that it's about service. Except you mean, service of the pocket.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
80, 90%, I don't know what percentage.
99%.
Okay, what?
Leave that one. Just leave that window. Just leave that 1% window.
Are there any politicians that are inside that 1%?
That's
what are the ones that come to your mind that are in the 1%?
I don't even know, but just leave that 1%.
But the point is, they don't have any other jobs outside politics.
That is it.
And so that's why when they get in, there's nothing else to do after that 4 years.
Look at the United States.
Keep themselves there.
President Biden had the option of remaining and say, no, I'll see this through. I want to contest, irrespective of whatever everybody say.
Well,
but at the end of I'm just
that's subject to debates.
No. Let me say. That is a system that works. That is a system that works. But they've spoken to him and say, Oga, you can't see this through. It's better you do think that you can tell a Nigerian presidential candidate, no matter even if it's 1,000 years, that he should step down, and you see him stepping down. It's not possible.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no jobs, so. If he leaves, where is he going to?
Jobs because ordinarily, before you come to public service, before you come, you're supposed to have delivered. Right. It's based on what you have done in the past that people look up to you to pick you up as a leader. Do you understand what I mean? But the reverse is the case here. Our own here is once you have the money in your pocket, you believe that irrespective of where you get the money from.
Or you can bully your way.
You can bully yourself.
Even if you don't have
the pedigree, if you don't have the pedigree, anything.
And nobody has any of your baby pictures anywhere.
Nobody, even if they have.
Okay.
You can always deny it.
I want us to talk about this as quickly as possible before we wrap up. NIMET predicts 3-day thunderstorms rains across Nigeria. That's on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. Then on the front page of the Punch, NEC fears poor harvest as flooding kills 205. So it seems that we're going to have a bit of a flooding problem. And I'm talking about it so we can raise awareness. And I'm hoping that something is being done because there is warning now. And not that when that time comes, we'll then pretend like we don't know. And people's houses and cars will be under the water. And then we'll say, oh, there's no harvest because there was really terrible flooding.
We've always had this alarm, as it were. It's not today starts. From the beginning of the year, they might have been coming out and saying, so. The problem has always been, what have we done? Or what are we doing? Because in other parts of the world, there is nothing you cannot predict, even except in small instances. You see in the US, in the UK, Russia, they will tell you that there's going to be a storm. There's going to be a tsunami. There's going to be this. There's going to be flooding. And most often than not, government take proactive measures. Even the people on their own start taking. But here, they'll just tell us, oh, that will be the, and nothing is being done.
So just to mention that they are saying that it will start from the early hours on Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday.
That's today.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
Later they said, anyway, let's just see.
My own is that what are we doing? What are we doing to help the people? And I always quote this. They say people should move to upper land. And when you say people move to upper land, what is the alternative? Are you opening an IDP camp for them to move to, or what? Because most of these people don't have alternative. And that is what happens. And day in, day out, we continue to have this. It is not something that just takes you by surprise, because this is predicted a year ahead, at times a year ahead, 2 years ahead. Yeah. And you ask yourself, what is the government doing? What is NEMA doing? What is the state government doing? What is the federal government doing? What are the local government level? What are they doing? When you say I should move, where should I move? I should move from my village in Umungobo. Where should I move to? I should move to Umahia, or to move to where? Yeah. So we should be able to provide alternative for Nigerians to be able, and that is always my own issue with this. It's not just asking people, oh, we're predicting this is going to happen. At the end of it, what next?
Yeah, I mean,
what next?
The president, I think, was in the news also that the president's giving certain states billions of naira, as a result of the flooding, but I've always
talking about so there's also the ecological fund that is given to the states. Yeah. That you give it to the state, and most often than not, the state government just pocket it. I interviewed just as I was on there. I interviewed the commissioner on my one of my TV programs. I interviewed the commissioner of environment, Ogun State, about 2-3 weeks ago, and I said, "What are you doing with the ecological funds being given to your state? Because you are complaining, blah blah." He said on national TV that I have never gotten a kobo.
He has never gotten a kobo.
Yes, in the past 2 years. That's the commissioner.
So where's the money going to?
So that's the question. That's the question to ask.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I've also always spoken about the agricultural value chain in Nigeria, and how it is so faulty. Yeah. That we don't have certain things that, if we know that there's going to be flood in certain parts of the country every year, it doesn't change. There will be flooding this year. Mm-hmm. We should have plans that are already set up to mitigate against.
That is what I'm saying. That's what I just said.
Storage facilities.
That is what I'm just saying.
Whatever it is.
That is what I'm saying, because it's a pattern.
Yeah.
Because there are some areas of this country that you definitely, let's take, for example, Lokoja. Of course, you know that every year there will always be serious rain, and within that Lokoja as is, that place will be flooded, the road will be flooded, and the rest of them. What are you doing? Taraba. You know that there will always be problem within those areas, some areas in Taraba. The Riverine area in Nigeria, in the south.
Yeah.
Ogun State. Let us even say Lagos, Ogun State. Between the Lagos, Ogun State border, as you're going towards Mowe, the express, that once they open up the dam, that place gets flooded, and the whole of that is, what are we doing about it? So those have always been the issue. And at the end of it, year in, year, we continue crying and nothing is being done. And that has always been my problem. I will have a Ministry of Environment, we have the NIMET, we have NAMA, and we have several agencies of government that are supposed to be able to take care of this. The question you ask, one, are they getting the necessary funding? That is one. Because it's one thing for them to cry out, and you just realize that they're not even getting what level of appropriation is being given them by the National Assembly. And if appropriation was made, have we been able to go to interrogate and probe whether those money were used for that is what happens in this country. Nobody gives no accountability, and that has always been an issue.
Chris Kehinde Nwandu, thank you very much for joining us, as always, and sharing your views on these stories. And thanks to those who called as well to contribute to the program.
I wish I just come here one day and we just talk something very, very pleasant and positive.
Yeah, when
than all these
Port Harcourt refinery is fully functional, maybe we'll talk about
Dangote refinery.
Okay, the seventh
time. They've shifted it for 6 times.
Bros, you're low. Wow. So, have a wonderful day.
Have faith.
I do.
Stay with us.